Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Tanika. It is Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Tanika. I want to first of all thank all of you for joining in and sharing a small portion of your Tuesday morning with me today. Real quick, if you can go ahead and share this video on your page, share this video with those that you loved and you cherish. We want to get this video out today. Thank you again for sharing this video, hashtag Tuesday Talks with Tanika. And thank you again for spending just a small portion of your Tuesday morning with me today. First, we want to go ahead and get started with the topic that we have today. And the topic is for today is on the spot correction. On the spot correction. And this may be a very familiar term with some of you who are watching today. And some of you may have some thoughts of what on the spot correction um, means to you and how you interpret the topic on the spot correction. You know, on the spot correction is simply pointing out the things that you see that can be wrong, or things that you see that um, may not be in line with the way that things should be. They don't fit into the bigger picture. And having an inclination um, and a willpower, a willingness to make on the spot corrections is very, very important. Very important in our walk, in our journey in life. Making on the spot corrections are very necessary. Speaking out against those opposing forces or things that don't um, align up with where you want to be in life, or align, even sometimes making on the spot corrections for things that may get off track for those that you're connected to, that you want to call out real quick. Because sometimes, our friends, our families, our loved ones um, don't see the need to make those minor adjustments or those corrections. And this is one of the terms that I've adopted through my military experience. Some of my military colleagues may be watching, and this is a term that we use a lot. There are some things that we see, maybe a soldier is walking around with the wrong type of uniform on, or someone has their headgear on incorrectly. And as a leader, key point, as a leader, um we are mandated to make an on the spot correction when we see that something is not right, when we see that something is not lining up with our culture in the way that we do business. It is our duty and our responsibility to make an on the spot correction, meaning not to allow it to linger, not to allow our thoughts to say, okay, well, maybe, they didn't know better, or maybe, it wasn't like that. And we start to second guess our own selves and our own judgment. No, we have to make immediate on the spot corrections, because if we don't, those things become the new normal. Those things become the new standard when we don't correct things on the spot. In other words, if we don't cut it off at the head, if we don't cut it off when we see it, then it is going to become the new way of business, the new order of business. Like I said, this is a term that I adopted and I've inherited through my military experiences. And I'm kind of passionate about it because for so long in my own personal life, I have allowed things to linger. I have allowed things to continue on, even though I saw that it was wrong. I felt in my spirit that it wasn't right. I knew in my mind that it wasn't right, but I just used that passive aggressiveness and allowed it to continue on. And then at the end of the day, I was the one that was being beat up on. I was the one that was holding that. Well, maybe I should have said something. Maybe I should have done, because if I had said something, then it would not have been so big now. As leaders of our family, as leaders on our jobs, as leaders in our relationships, we are called to make on the spot corrections. These things are necessary. And even if making on the spot corrections cause people to get offended, if they cause people to reject you, if they cause people to dismiss you, that's okay. because we are required to make on the spot corrections. As they say, if you don't do something that God has called you to do, the blood is not on your hands. Now you have to deal with the consequences of you not taking a stand, and the consequences of you not making the right judgment and the right judgment call in that moment. We sometimes in my job we go and do wall to wall counseling or shade tree counseling. Sometimes you have to call people to the side and say, hey, what you're doing right now is not becoming of you. It's not becoming of what we stand on. It's not becoming of where you're going. It's not becoming of where I'm going. So we have to make on the spot correction. And of course, with that, we have to be wise on our approach. We have to be wise on our timing, and everything comes in order. We want it to be receptive. It comes in order, but I just wanted today to elaborate on this this morning. We have to remove intimidation. We have to remove fear of what someone else is going to think, how they're going to receive. And I will be the first to admit this was something that I've dealt with, I've struggled with pretty much all my life. Wondering how's the person going to receive what I have to say about the thing that I see that may be incorrect or may be improper. Worrying about the after effect before it even happens. Worrying about their feelings before I even get it out. And when you have that gut feeling, when you have that gut thing, a lot of times that's the Spirit of God nudging and pulling at you to make that decision. And we know that the enemy is not going to tell us something or give us something that's going to cause confusion. And in that moment, if we have something to say and the person doesn't immediately receive it, you best believe when they go back and think about what they say, they're going to get convicted, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, because if you do it with the right intentions, they have no choice but to receive what God is saying through you. And I know this morning it sounds like I may be gone on a rant, but this has really, really dropped in my spirit this morning, y'all. And if you all can take a few seconds real quick and just share this, because a lot of us are sitting on things that we see and we are allowing it to continue, and we're not saying anything about it. So we are just going with the flow. We are going with the flow. And so if we continue to go with the flow, we are just as guilty as those that are committing it. We are just as guilty. And we are responsible. And because we are responsible, we will have to pay a part of the price of the consequence that comes along with that person's decision, especially if they are connected to us. We have a responsibility to make those on the spot corrections, and sometimes if we feel like we got to think twice about it, we feel like we got to question ourselves, then sometimes that may not be the right thing doing. It helps to keep us accountable for our goals and keep the people that we're connected to accountable. Making the on the spot corrections. And sometimes when we do that, we may feel bad for the other person. We may feel bad on how, but I'm starting to learn now that that's not for me to deal with necessarily. That's for God to deal with, and God will minister to that individual or those people. As long as we're doing it in good spirit, we're doing it in love, we're doing it in an effort to make the body better, to make the body whole. If we see some friends, some loved ones that's doing something, even in ourselves, sometimes, let's hear that, sometimes we have to make on the spot corrections in ourselves. Okay, Nika, you see this happening. Okay, now you're quick to judge someone because of how they look. You're quick to judge someone because of what you see them doing. No. Correct yourself, Tanika. Don't judge them, because in a moment that could be you. In a moment that could have been you. In a moment, hey, that may have been you already. We need to correct ourselves sometimes as well. And be okay with that and accepting that, because a lot of times it's so easy for us to correct the next person. It's so easy for us to find fault in the next person. But first, let us examine ourselves, see those things that we have to deal with, heal from those things that we have to heal from. Go ahead and get those revelations on those things that we know that we have been dealing with. Spend time, meditate. See, you look at yourself in the mirror, make yourself, because the first thing that somebody's going to check you on when you make that on the spot correction with them is, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so we have to make sure that we come correctly, in a sense. when we go to check someone, especially someone that knows their stuff, someone that knows their stuff, and we walk up on someone and want to correct them, we got to make sure that we come correct. We have a thing in the military, and I can only share what I've experienced, and our nails can only be a certain length, a certain color, and females, if we want to make an on-the-spot correction with another female that has her fingernails out of regulation, I can't go to her and say, hey, soldier, you need to make sure that your nails are within regulation. If I come there with what they call it, the coffin shaped nails, if I come there and I know that my nails are not in regulation, I can't come to that person and make an on-the-spot correction. Number one, they're going to look at me first. They're going to check me out first to see if I'm coming correct. Number two, they're going to call out what they see that is wrong with me first. And God doesn't want us to be made ashamed. He doesn't want us to be made foolish, look foolish, when we go and do things and try to correct others. So that's another point. That's another point in making the on the spot corrections. We have to make sure that we are intact. And I'm not trying to get deep this morning or anything, sometimes when we want to call out certain spirits and certain things that we see on other people, we have to make sure that we are equipped. And that in the worldly, in the worldly line of it, we have to make sure that we come correct, right? And in the spiritual realm, we have to make sure that we are equipped, to go and do the things that we have been sent to do. If you've been sent to make that on the spot correction, make sure you're equipped, because you don't want to go into something and you become defeated because you went into the battle without being equipped. There's a passage of scripture when Jesus was going to the cross, and Peter was with Jesus, and he said, Jesus, you don't have to do that. Of course, you don't have to do that. No, that can't be it. And Jesus immediately made what? He made an on-the-spot correction, because Peter was not speaking as someone that was following the voice of God. And Jesus needed to do what was necessary in that moment. So he spoke to Peter. He was spoken to that spirit in Peter, and he said, "Get thee behind me, Satan. Get behind me." I dismiss those things that are not lining up, that are not going forward in the way that God is calling me to go. I dismissed those things immediately. Immediately, he recognized that there was a need to make an on-the-spot correction. Jesus couldn't wait. He couldn't wait and say, okay, well, maybe Peter didn't mean it like that. Maybe Peter was trying to say this. No, but Peter said that. He said, "No, Jesus, that can't be it. That's not, that can't be it." Jesus said, no, Peter. And Peter, I'm not denouncing Peter himself. I'm denouncing that spirit within Peter. So I'm making an on-the-spot correction, which is necessary in this moment. In this moment, I dismiss what you're saying. And in this moment, we have to make on-the-spot corrections. No, that's wrong, and I'm not going to stand for it. No, what you're doing, that's wrong, and I'm not going to stand for it. And I'm not going to allow you to be a representation of me being connected to you. I'm not going to allow you to display a certain error that represents me. I'm not going to allow you to go forward and people, you're guilty by association. And the audience that we have to make sure that those that are walking with us, whether it be on a job, whether it be family members, whether it be in ministry, whether it be in your children, we have to make sure that we're all going in the same direction. And if someone stands out of line, we have to make sure that we are able to make the on-the-spot correction. If you're not walking in sync, and when we was younger, you play those games, the racing games, and you say, on your marks, get ready, go, right? And sometimes somebody might be quick to jump out before you say go. And then you have to say, "Oh, no. Let's start over. Because you jumped the gun before I said, let's go." And so if you jump the gun before I say, let's go, then that means you're out of sync. That means you're not listening. That means you're not going where the team is going at the pace the team is going. And so immediately that person that's calling the shot, that person that's doing the grading, that person that's going to give the score, have to say, no, we all have to start over again, because one person moved out of timing, because one person caused all of us to lose our place in the game, because you did not follow the instructions that the grader was giving. We have to make those on the spot corrections. And I will be the first to admit this morning, the Spirit of God had to really convict me real good today, y'all, on making on the spot corrections. Because we all have to give an account. We all have to give an account. You are just as guilty as a person that needs to be standing corrected if you don't make that correction. If you don't make that the correction, and it's not to just go and chastise, it's not to go and belittle, but it's doing it as an effort to us to gain strength from one another. It's doing it as an effort to allow us to be developed by one another, you know, and to allow us to help each other to grow and to push each other, you know, and there's a way to do things. There's a way to do things. There's a specific type of approach, you know, that we're going to have a graceful approach, one that's going to be received by the other party, you know, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, especially if you are led by God, especially if you are led by the Spirit of God. The other people that's on your team, they're going to receive it. They have no choice but to receive it if they're going where you're going. Because a lot of times, if people can't stand to be corrected, you don't have to tell them to leave. They'll just leave because they feel that they're not in place. They're out of place. They are out of place, and they'll just leave. You know, if they know that they don't fit in and they're out of place, you won't have to have that burden of asking someone to remove themselves. You know, you doing the work of God will do that removing for you. You know, and so in this season, y'all, hey, we just need to. I really feel this really heavily. I feel this really heavy this morning, y'all. We have got to make those on the spot corrections. We have to. That's a part of the call that God has called all of us to. We are to be disciples of Christ. We are to call out those things that we see that are not lining up. They're not lining up to our purpose. They're not lining up to the purpose of the call. They're not lining up to the purpose of the people. You know, we have to make it. And someone made a comment earlier about how racism is now like spreading like cancer. You know, killing of our young people is spreading like cancer. You know, police brutality is spreading like cancer because we are not making on the spot corrections. People in leadership are not making on the spot corrections. You cut it off at the head. And because we don't cut it off, we allow it to continue. It's becoming the new normal now. It's the new standard now. You know, it's the new way of doing things now. And now it's gotten so out of control that we don't even know what is right. We're calling right wrong. We're calling wrong right. We're confused. We are confused. You know, double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Unstable. You ever sat in a chair that was unstable? You didn't know at what moment you were going to fall out of that chair. And so because the chair was unstable and it was wobbly, you had to take your weight and lean on one side to make sure you don't fall out the chair. You know, we don't want to be unstable because we are allowing things to take over. We are allowing things that we know is wrong to continue to be wrong. Y'all, this is Tuesday Talks with Tanika. I love you guys so much. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hey, I pray that you will share this video because I really believe that we need to shift up some things. We need to shift some things, and we need to begin to make those on-the-spot corrections and know that if nobody else has your back, God has your back. He will not allow you to make a fool out of him because we are fearful. We are fearful of what the consequences are going to be. Let us take those necessary corrections. Let us make those on the spot corrections, and let us do what we know we have been called to do. Hey, I love you guys so much. Please share this video. # Tuesday Talks with Tanika. I'll talk to you all next Tuesday. Love you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.